What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. The Sharks beat the Capitals 3-1. Very confusing.
4-1. Empty netter, baby.
So confused that I couldn't even get the score right. Very confusing win. They can't beat a dog shit Seattle team, but they beat Washington. I don't know what to tell you guys.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, Kyle Demetrius. Back with me as always, his co-host and Sharks shirt laden, clad.
Clad.
That's what it is when you wear clothes. Clad, not laden. It's JD. The Indiana Pacers to my
San Jose Sharks.
I was going to say Oakland Raiders. Two middling franchises. Last time we talked about how it's over for the Sharks. They should pack it in, and then they come out and beat Washington, which happens in an 82-game season. I think. Okay, first things first. I'm not trying to say the Sharks played bad. They obviously played really well. They just beat Washington.
Played really well tonight. They were easily the better team tonight. So
yeah, there's no shame in doing that. I mean, Montreal has been the better team this season too over teams. I don't think that's any good as Washington, but actually no. The other day, Montreal outplayed Vegas and lost in overtime. So it happens. I'm not trying to say they're bad. Brent Burns played well. Milosh got a goal. Gregor finally scored. The world is ending. Maybe this means like COVID is ending or something like that because Gregor scored. Reimer came up big. Lots of good things happened. My point is that when you go on a myopic game-by-game basis and you're like, wow, the Sharks are back. They beat Washington. How dare you guys at Locked On Sharks say that they're dead? And you don't take into account the bigger trend. Last week, they were 2 points out of a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, or second place in the Pacific. Sure. They also had 6 games more played than everybody else in the division, in the conference. So you can't really square those things away. Like if you're running a marathon and you're 5 feet from the end, but then you get shot and die, everybody's going to pass you and you're going to finish last. You know what I mean? A little gruesome, but
yes.
Get the point across.
I think the big thing is process over results.
But the process is bad.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's part of the thing is like you're going to have the results tonight, and the results. The Sharks process was really good tonight. But if you're looking at the bigger picture process, that's where the thing like.
I don't even think the process was good tonight. Do you see that lineup?
They outplayed the Cap. I mean, I think it was more of the Caps didn't play their game compared to the Sharks played. I mean, the Sharks played really well. You got to give them credit for that. And it was nice to see some of the secondary scoring, which the Sharks have desperately needed. Guys like Gregor and Dahlin who haven't scored goals in forever. It was nice to see them score goals, but like as you were saying, when you take that bigger picture approach, it's like, can we really count on Reimer to stop 32 of 33 shots every night? Probably not. I mean, it was again after some down play from him. It was nice to see him have a great game. Can we expect Gregor and Dahlin to continually contribute secondary scoring? Maybe. I don't know. But Dahlin maybe. But Gregor, that ship may have sailed. But, I like back to that process for results where it's like you have to look at this bigger picture. And the Sharks process has been mediocre at times. And they haven't gotten the results. And sometimes they've played really bad, but they've gotten good results. And tonight they played really well and they got good results. But I just don't think that this process that they're on, I just don't think they have the pieces to continue this. And we'll tip our hats tonight. They played really well, but again, like I don't think this formula for them is what is going to like kind of continue to drive. Especially when you start to play other teams. So
other good teams, Granted, if they played Ottawa and Montreal every time, it'd be different. But they have Carolina and Florida back to back.
If they play like this this weekend against the Canes and the Panthers, and they come out and they win both those games, or they look really good, then we have another conversation on Monday about grit and all that fun stuff. But you have to kind of sometimes step back, and it's easy to get caught up in a game to game situation where it's like, hey, they won tonight. Are they back? And it's like, Well, you can't just throw away what's happened the last, like I said on yesterday's show, where it's just you lose so many pieces, and you can't expect Brent Burns to play 28 minutes a night. And like we said, Brent Burns has been great, but how many times have we see Brent Burns been great, and then the next game Brent Burns is just terrible?
More often than not, he's been mediocre to bad this season, then it's been good. And I think doing that, like stepping back and looking at it, it's good. And then obviously when they lose to a team like Seattle, that's a very game like, wow, the Sharks are bad. But if the whole conceit by people out there is that the Sharks are going to the playoffs and they're a playoff team, or the conceit is that they're battling for a playoff spot, teams that are battling for playoff spots can't lose to bad teams. And they have to beat some of the good teams.
What was the saying? Beat the bad teams and win some games
against the better teams. Yeah. But like, if you're going to the playoffs and you are going to go 50-50, 55-45 against like the upper tier teams and the middle teams, then you got to go like 95% against the bottom teams, and they dropped 2 games to Seattle. So a team that's the conceit is that they're going to the playoffs or a playoff.
Lost the game to Montreal earlier this year. Like it's, they've lost some of these, and they've won some great, like they beat the Canes earlier this year. They beat the Caps tonight. They've won and played against some of these good teams. But it's just, I think the thing with them is just,
but to go to the playoffs, you need to have those good wins and then beat the crappy teams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then lose to like LA, who's about the same par as you right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not losing to Ottawa and Chicago and stuff like that. Like you got to beat them in order to, like, that's where I just don't like, I guess I just don't see how this team, like they beat Washington. Great. Are they better than they were 2 games ago? Probably not.
No,
they probably just caught Washington on a good day.
Yeah, and that happens, and that happens. Tip our hat. It's not like, and it's not like they just squeaked by Washington. Like they thoroughly outplayed them, and it was a 1-goal game in the third period, but like, Reimer made a bunch of stops, and and it was good to see where it wasn't on Hurdle and Meyer to basically provide all the offense, and it was nice to see these other guys contribute. But it's like this team, they're just not consistent enough on a night-to-night basis where it's like, and it feels like even the Seattle game, like they played really well the first period, and then they were just like, later guys, I'm going to the fish market or something. It's like, and tonight they were very good. Well, even like the periods, it was like the first half of the first period, they were just rampaging over the Caps, and the Caps kind of crawled back into it. And even the second period, they were, the first half of the period, they were the better team, and then the Caps kind of crawled back to it. And then, they did a good job defensively in the third period, and, they got lucky with a lot of posts and a lot of guys just kind of missing stuff. But, it was a good win for them, but I'm not ready to jump back on the bandwagon of the Sharks are good. So, or the Sharks are a playoff team. But Kyle, if you maybe wanted to bet on the Sharks being a playoff team, where could you head over to?
The internet.
Specifically, our friends over at BetOnline. BetOnline would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march to the playoffs and beyond. BetOnline remains the #1 spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. New year and a new updated desktop and a mobile website to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code LOCKEDON to get started. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2022. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Yeah. Should we talk? We talked about the process. This lineup was horseshit.
This lineup was weird, and I get like you had to, you were expecting Balcers to be back in.
Well, what are we doing? Balcers practiced this morning, did he not?
Yeah, he was there for Wardy Skate and everything, and it apparently wasn't cleared in time. Little worried about that.
That's just negligence, just straight up on the Sharks' part.
I don't know if that's something where
no, it's negligence. He was in the protocol, and then they're like, "You can come back and do morning skate," and then he wasn't in the protocol. That's just straight ignorance or negligence from the Sharks. Like, what? It's 2 years of the pandemic, guys. Figure it out. Yeah. That's just bad organization right there. That's just shit.
And then they had to kind of switch some lineups and stuff like that.
Did they though? Did they have to switch them?
Well, again, it's not, like you've pulled so many pieces out of this team. It's not like they've got a lot to work with. But so the lines were, so we split up the Hurdle Meyer, I think was the big thing. And, we saw at the beginning of the season, Meyer was staple to Couture, and then Hurdle kind of had the Rudy Barabanov mismatch. And I mean, that Gregor, the Meyer Couture line was really good with Dahlin, was really good at the beginning of the year. But then we complained about, man, Hurdle needs help. And then they switched Hurdle, or they switched, and gave Hurdle. And then it's, man, Couture needs help. So maybe it should just be Timo by himself and then Couture and Hurdle. I don't know. But because Timo's a freaking monster again tonight. So and first line Gregor. Sorry.
Well, Gregor scored, so everybody's going to be frothing at the mouth and being like, wow, he just needed to play with better. First line Gregor still is bad. That was the wrong way that Gregor should have been going up the lineup. This is the thing. This is the whole thing that the whole conversation we've been talking about. If Gregor now goes on a 6-game skid where he doesn't score, then what was the point? He scored 1 goal. Great. Awesome. You know what I mean? It's got to be more consistent. So, he's going to play, those forward lines are probably going to be pretty similar next game.
Well, I assume
Maybe
Gregor
Rudy
will drop down to the third.
Why, though? He scored a goal. We've seen Bob do this.
But, because Ballsters hopefully should be back, and Gregor was supposed to be on the third line, and then Cogliano on the fourth line. I would hope
that would be good process, is putting Gregor where he belongs and putting Rudy up there. But yeah. I'm not confident in Bob.
Better, you can swap, that's fine. If Gregor's out, having a great game and Rudy's not feeling it, then okay, then you swap.
Gregor hasn't had a great game in a year.
Gregor's been, I think you're low. I think you're too low on Gregor. I think he's, but
score a goal?
Well, no,
he's supposed to be an offensive guy. Score 1 goal.
He did score 1. He's not 2 now.
He's got 2.
But anyway, I don't want to make this a Gregor podcast, but
wow, we got nothing else to talk about.
I think he's been doing a lot. I think his, the coaches, the details and stuff like that is a lot better than it has been. And he's been a little bit snake bit, and he drives offense. And yeah, he doesn't.
Does he drive offense, or just take a shitload of shots?
He drives offense too. So, and it's just, he's been better than what he is. And it's not like there's not an easy answer to replace. Then who are you going to replace Gregor with? That's my thing, is they just don't have answers for these questions. So, of what to do, okay, it's fun that okay, let's, put Gregor on the third line, but it's Barabanov and Rudy have been both in and out of the lineup for the past, 6 weeks. And there's not just an easy answer that's right there. So.
Sure, but the guy's supposed to be providing offense, and winging 10 shots at the thing and shooting 2% is not a recipe for helping anybody. And replacing it with somebody, literally give anybody a shot. Why does Gregor get the longest leash on earth? We just watched Ryan Merkey make 1 bad play, and now he's benched forever.
R.I.P. Ryan Merkey. Now he's never getting, after Malash scores, he's
never
getting.
Yeah.
I just look at me. I'm the captain now, Merkey.
Oh God, I hate it so much. That's exactly what's going to be happening. It's so funny that Bob was the way that Merkey gets better is by playing him and letting him get out there and stuff like that, and then immediately benches him. It's just a good little time. Okay, so Noah Gregor in his career has 9 goals in 84 games. Why? What are we doing? His shooting percentage is 1.3 this year, 8.3 last year, and 9 the year before. At some point, he's just not he's tied his career high in points with 6 because he had 5 assists. Mm-hmm. At some point, you got to try something else. Why does Hobgovax get benched? Why does Nick Merkley? Nick Merkley's not in the same conversation, but why do they play 2 games and then get benched, and Noah Gregor can throw 35 shots at net and not score any and be well, power play 1 for you? I just
power play 2, which is poo poo anyway. But it's
power play 2 was the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's so bad. Yeah, it's again. I don't. You're just shuffling chairs on that.
Okay, Titanic. But did you not? At the start of this, and for the last thing, being wow, we need secondary scoring. Mm-hmm. And if Meyer and Hurdle don't do it, then what are we doing? But then you also just said you're okay with Gregor scoring 2 goals in like 30 games. Those two things don't go together.
Yeah. I said they got secondary scoring today, but it's
but that's one game out of the past 40.
Yeah.
Like and
But my
Dalton's
thing
not
is
even secondary scoring. He's supposed to be primary scoring.
Well, he can't if he's supposed to be a third line wing anyway.
Dahlin is on the
I
first
thought you were talking about Gregor still.
No,
but
Dahlin is primary scoring.
Yes, Dahlin's primary scoring.
But Gregor's not on the third line. That's the thing. If Gregor was on the third line and was just booting around out there with Bonino, that'd be fine. He plays like 13 minutes or whatever, and he's doing his thing, and it's like every once in a while he pops a goal. It's great. But Gregor's been shoehorned into the top 2 lines constantly.
Because they have nobody else. Because, well, with Banoff and Balcers, who were supposed to be primary scoring guys, they've been in and out. One of them has been out of the lineup for literally the past 6 weeks, and it's like there's just.
What about Hobgovacs? What about Blickfeld? What about literally anyone? What about William Eklund?
Well, yes, our thoughts are made very clear on.
It was great when Gregor came up and he was taking a lot of shots and doing a lot of things, and it's like, wow, maybe Gregor like really tuned up his game from the AHL, and then he just didn't score, and like that's not what you need out of Noah Gregor. Why can't we have John Leonard doing that? And see, maybe he's got some goal scoring touch.
Yeah, I think Gregor might just be a tweener at this point, where he's too good for the AHL and too good for not good enough for the NHL.
If you're a tweener, you're not on the first or second line of an NHL team. That's what I'm saying. Like, if he was on the fourth line and provided a little speed,
when we talked about this yesterday, where all these guys that have been pulled out of the Jenga tower, right? And it's just like your LeBancs, who you expected to be a top 6 winger, and
yes, no, I understand that. But the Jenga tower has been filled with a Gregor piece for far too long, is my point. Like, it was fine for 15 games. It's like, well, that's not working. And then pull the Gregor Jenga piece out. Like, it's just time. Why has John Leonard not had it one single sniff of the NHL?
Because he does all the things that coaches like. So his details and stuff like that.
But details is brutal. It's dumb. It's made up bullshit so that coaches can play their stupid lineups.
It feels like a redundancy between him and Matt Nieto, where if you had one or the other, you'd be like whatever, But
I would prefer Gregor in that situation because he's younger and a little bit faster. But yes,
Matt Nieto on the breakaway.
I 100%
agree. Short-handed breakaway and just is like, here you go.
Yeah.
So, but
I think that's the frustrating thing with this Sharks team is that they're not leaning one way or the other.
They're just
sitting on the fence, and then not like Bob's idea of trying something is putting Gregor on the first line and breaking up Timo and Hurdle. Bob's idea of trying something is benching Ryan Merkey when you desperately need offense after your offensive stud defenseman went out.
The Merkey thing is brutal. We've talked. It's why does Ryan Merkey, who's trying to spark some offense when you're down 4 goals, and then it's like the details, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, he had one bad defensive game, but it's like he's been fine defensively, and then you're gonna bench him after that, but then like other guys can just get away with literally watching guys just skate past them. Brent Burns,
it was 7-1. If you're trying to tell me that Ryan Merkey needed to be taught a lesson in a game that you lost 7-1, that you're not the coach for me, because like everybody played bad. Nobody plays good and nobody stands out particularly bad in a 7-1 game. Everybody is bad. So I don't understand. And the thing is that's frustrating. It's not like Ryan Merkey has played 10 games and he's been like, well, okay, he's actually fared fairly well. And Bob has said he's played well. And Bob has said he needs to play more in order to like get up to NHL speed, and then immediately benches him.
You think we'd see Ryan Merkey this weekend?
No, they just won. That's the problem too, is that especially with Bugner, something works. He doesn't change it. He just sits on it instead of being like, well, maybe we got a little lucky, or maybe I need to tweak something. He just will sit on this exact same lineup. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. If the Sharks were winning a lot of games and then they like popped off against Washington, I'd be like, that's awesome. That's exciting. But they're not. They've been mediocre roller coaster, closer to the bad end of it, and then they do this, and it's like everybody's gonna be like, wow, you guys are being so negative, and it's like, we're not. If they beat Carolina and Florida, sure, great, awesome, maybe the Sharks have something, but they're not going to.
I'm gonna laugh when they do. Reimer makes like 100 saves this week. It's just
imagine. I think the biggest thing is I don't want to see them finish 17th and pick nobody. And now you have a shitty season that didn't mean anything, and you picked somebody not good when you could have went the other way. That's where I'm at. I don't know.
yes. Let's a little positive here.
Guess how many shots at the beginning?
Guess how many shots Timo Meier took today?
11.
He had 9 shots though. Just continues to be a man among boys.
What an absolute monster!
Yeah, just steamrolled Ovechkin on his way to the net. And should have. I can't believe he didn't score there. Where he had like one where it like popped off. And it looked like it was going to trick one to the net, but just a man among boys. He's so good.
He did get
you know what they should do? He should just play the first and the second line and play him like 30 minutes.
How many minutes did he play tonight? He played 21.
Yeah.
They're recognizing. Brent Burns played 27. Ferraro played 27.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Oh my Lord.
Magna, 18 and a half. Miloš 15. And then Šimik Vlasic. So, I could see Vlasic or Šimik coming out if they want to get Merkey back in there. So, but
hopefully.
So, yeah, I mean, the Sharks played really well tonight.
Sharks played well.
They played well.
There's no denying it. They need to play well now against Carolina, and they need to play well against Florida, and then they need to play well against whatever jabroni-ass team is coming up after that.
Yeah.
Then they need to. This is the thing, is that they can't play well one time, and everybody gives them a week and a half off. Like, wow, they remember when they beat Washington.
Remember when they lost 7-1 to the Lightning?
Yeah, why are the losses just wiped out, and then the wins like give them cachet for games and games and games and games? You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't work that way. The losses should linger, and the wins should be like, okay, you won one game, put 4 together. You know what I mean? For a team that's trying to go to the playoffs, if the team just wants to be mediocre and not make the playoffs and pick bad, sure, then we're on track. But like, yeah, I don't know what we're doing here. So
nobody knows what they're doing here.
All right, let's end this madness. Congrats to Nick Miloš.
Good, yeah. I do love the goofy first goal pick. Those never ever get old. So I'm very excited to see Nick Miloš with the goofy smile holding the puck, just
the white tape on it wrapped around. Yeah.
Yep.
If you would like to tell us our opinions are bad and dumb, you can do that at Locked On Sharks on Twitter. You can also do that at Facebook and Instagram. JD puts up all our work there, so you can check it out. You can get at us. We will answer. No worries there. Email lockedonsharks@gmail.com. There's some emails. We'll do them tomorrow. Just too late.
I don't know. We got a busy slate tomorrow. So
what are we doing tomorrow?
We got 2 games to preview and our fries of the week. So
we got time for emails. Our beloved listeners.
Paul
demands justice for his email. YouTube, Locked On Sharks. Come follow us. Come watch us. That's your thing. Listening to us, you're already listening to us. So Amazon Music. I don't know why I start with that one. Maybe alphabetical. Spotify, Apple. It's just alphabetical before Apple. Good. I'm glad that wasn't a mistake. JD is at My Fryhole.
Kyle is at Kyle Demetrius. Thank you for making us your first listen. Go check out one of the other amazing podcasts like Locked On Bets, or you can check out the Locked On Navs, where you get a nice quick snapshot of the NHL every day after the games from the previous night. So you want to know what's happening around the NHL without having to go listen to every NHL podcast. It's the way to go. You can also go listen to the Locked On Florida Panthers and the Locked On Canes if you want to learn more about these juggernaut teams that the Sharks are going to be playing here soon, or any other amazing Locked On podcasts such as
Locked On Trailblazers.
Go Sean. No, not Sean. I don't know who does the Trailblazers.
I don't know. Mr. Blazer.
Mr. Blazer.
It's actually Rasheed Wallace is doing the Locked On.
That would be amazing. I would listen to Rasheed Wallace talking. Yeah.
Pod. He could call it Pod Don't Lie. There you go. Get at me, Rasheed.
Bye, friends.
Yeah, whatever.